the last several weeks, we've been training for the Brazos Bend 100K Ultramarathon, and about 3 days before the race, we got an email from the race director saying there's some weather coming in this week, and the course is going to be too muddy, and we're not going to be able to run the race. So there's a whole bunch of us that are planning to run this ultramarathon. We're in this big group chat, and we're like, we still got to run our race. Like, what are we going to do? We've all been training. There's people flying in. People have hotels and Airbnbs booked, rental cars, and we can't let this all go to waste. So we're like, okay, let's pivot, and we'll just host our own race. They have this church here that offered up the parking lot, basically, to let us do this 1 mile loop. They'll let us use this parking lot for 30 hours and just run as many miles as you want. So we said, let's call it the Run Your Race 1 to 100 mile. It's hard to get hyped up for ultras because it's just such a long race and you're not really going that fast at the beginning, whereas a marathon, you go out like sprinting basically. But an ultra, you're just out there for so long. You could get hyped up, but it's going to be over. The hype is going to be over really quickly. So we've got our own little aid station set up here. We've got switchback electrolytes set up. But this is what running is all about, getting the community together. Who else would show up to run 100 miles on a 3-day notice? It's going to be a fun day, and I can't wait for it. Let's do it.
Everybody bring it in. Get where you can hear me, please. Okay, I want to cover a couple quick things before we start the race. First, I want to say, how awesome is it that we turned some lemons into Gatorade, made our own race, and I think it's so can you guys give a round of applause? Thank you to Elevate My Friend.
Six miles in right now. We're feeling pretty good. About 8:15 pace, so we're right on pace. I think so far the miles tick off very quickly. We got a gel, some water and electrolytes. Gonna stay on top of fuel and nutrition early, and it's gonna be a good day.
Oh,
That's good.
that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's not coming out of my beard.
It was a little aggressive, sorry. Came out a little hot.
That's all right.
12 miles in. First milk break.
Visiting you soon.
We're feeling good. We're at 8:15 pace, so right where we want to be. We're gonna keep moving. Just clicking the miles off one at a time. We'll be back for some milk shortly.
More milk?
More milk. I might stop around too. All right, here we go. I think the first 13 miles were kind of surreal in a way, just because when you're talking to somebody, your mind gets to wander. You get to think about everything but running. And so it just made the time go by really quickly, and just being out there with so many people. And then I remember that first loop I did by myself where I wasn't running alongside somebody. That's where I was like, okay, this is gonna be kind of a long day. Another one. This is my first looped course, and the 1 mile loop aspect made it very challenging, not just mentally, but I think coming through the aid station every 8 to 9 minutes, it was so easy to stop and it made it very hard to not stop every time I came through the aid station. But the one convenient thing is you always have nutrition right there. You always have access to extra shoes or clothes or anything that you might need. So the nutrition strategy was a gel every 45 minutes or so every 4 loops-ish. And then every 90 minutes, the plan was to stop, get some calories from milk. For me, the milk, it has proteins, fats, carbs, electrolytes, really easy to digest liquid calories. It's got substantial calories in it. And instead of putting solid foods in my stomach, it seems like the milk is just great because it doesn't cause any stomach issues.
32 miles in, and I'm trying to think of the race as just starting. So I'm trying to think of this as mile 1. We're really halfway there. But in my mind, the race really just started. So I'm gonna consider this mile 1. We've got about 30 more to go.
Go, Jeremy. Oh man. Doing good.
I feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over. All right, we're 43 miles in, 19 miles to go. I'm gonna try and keep that under like three hours, hopefully. We'll see. The interesting thing with ultras is your body kind of reaches a point where like the pain never really gets worse, it's just there. And I've felt that same amount of pain for like, I don't know, the last 4 hours, but it's just all about mentally to keep pushing, keep making forward progress, keep enduring that pain, because it never really gets worse from what I find.
So the main metric I was focused on throughout the race on my watch was my heart rate. I knew my pace was going to fluctuate based on my fatigue levels, based on how hot it was outside. And so I really wanted to just keep my heart rate as consistent as possible. So I had it set up on my watch to a very simple data screen where it was just the total time for the race, the mileage I was at, and then my heart rate. As much as I can, I like to run on feel. And then as the conditions start to change, I'll just monitor my heart rate to make sure I'm still running within that desired zone. So I wanted to stay in zone 2 as much as I could, or like low zone 3 because it is a race, so I can push it maybe a little bit more. So for the bulk of this race, my heart rate was in the 150s, right around 154 was the average. As it gets hotter out, it's easy to try and maintain your pace, but it's a lot harder on your body, obviously, and you're gonna burn out quicker. So if you can use your heart rate as a good metric to just ensure your effort level is where it needs to be based on the timing of the race.
Let's go. Setting up the yard today. Woo! Whoever idea this thing was is a genius. Oh. 12 miles. I'm doing about 10-minute miles right now. So that's about 2 more hours. I'll try to pick it up the last few, but I don't know how much in the tank. I am glad I'm not doing 100 miles today, I'll tell you that much. Kudos to the people doing 100 today. Y'all are freaking warriors. I'm calling her at 62. We're feeling it. We are feeling these miles.
Raw milk tonight?
It's milk time. Milk o'clock. Single digits. 8 hours in, 9 miles to go. I predict we'll be maybe around 9.5 hours for the day, so not bad. Just a Saturday stroll. the urge to walk is real. That's what I'm really fighting. I really just want to walk. I mean, I could just walk the last 9 miles, and it would probably hurt a lot less. But I'd rather just get this thing over with. As much fun as it's been. So close.
So close.
But so far. Why just sign up for that?
The other thing that helped me get through the last 10 miles was Pierce, one of my good friends that lives here in Dallas. He came up to me when I was around mile 53, 54, and he's like, I'm gonna run with you until you finish these last 7 or 8 miles. And mind you, he has bronchitis, and he hopped in with me. We decided to push the pace as much as we could for those last few miles, and he hung with me. He encouraged me. He was telling me, Jeremy, you're doing good. Keep going, we can get this. He's way more experienced than me. He's done 200-mile races and several 100-mile races, and having him there to help me get through the last few miles definitely helped. And it was cool. It was like a very special bonding moment and just deepened our connection too. Going into the last loop, I told Pierce, I'm gonna give it all I've got for this last mile. Everything that's left in the tank, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can. I think we clocked like maybe an 8:30 mile, which at that point my legs were gassed, my knees hurt, I was tired, mentally drained, and so being able to push an 8:30 mile at that point was not bad.
Let's go, Jeremy. Let's go, Jeremy. Oh, free. Let's go.
There's so much relief and like gratitude just for my body being able to carry me that far and knowing that there's always more you can do.
Dude, amazing job.
That's what, 8 miles with me?
Yeah.
What a boy.
About.
Thanks, dude.
So what do you have to say after your first 100K?
That was hard.
What do you have to say to all the people that have followed you and are inspired by you?
I would say,
How can they do something similar?
I'd say I'm nothing special. Just a regular guy who decided to run 100K. And if it's something you want to do, you can do it too. There's nothing I have that anybody else doesn't have. So,
How did they get started? How did you get started?
just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Start small, 5K, 10K, work your way up. Before you know it, you're like this guy running 200 milers.
Or 100K's fast.
When I do a marathon, I always say, ultras are so much better because you can go slower.
Yeah.
But then when I was doing this, I was like,
Speed ultras.
marathons are so much better because it's so much shorter.
They have trade-offs.
Yeah.
I learned so much about myself yesterday from this 100K, and each race that I do, the longer the distance, the more I learn about myself. And so I know that as I start training for this 100-mile race, and then I go and complete the 100-mile race, I'm gonna learn even more, set new benchmarks for myself, and just continue to progress and keep building mental strength through these longer and longer distances. And I'm just always reminded that we can go faster and farther together.